Hello, hello, and welcome to another week of Gilmore Sisters. This week we're going to talk about Lorelai's love language. But first, enjoy our theme song and our ad reel.
La 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 la. Gilmore Sisters.
Gilmore Sisters.
Pokemon love cereal. Hi, I'm Crayle from Pokeballs by Crayle. You probably recognize me from appearing on various shows on the Cereal Box Network. For the month of July 2023, I will be running a very special collection. I am teaming up with the network to do a special breakfast-themed collection. So go to CrayleVanest.com, and featured right there on my store page is the breakfast collection, because Pokemon love breakfast. Most of them love it as much as Pikachu likes that ketchup bottle. You know what I'm talking about. So again, that's CrayleVanest.com. Or you can hit the link in the description wherever you're finding this video.
One nightmare destroyed Aidan O'Donnell. Aidan Gray, aka Scorcher, was born out of those ashes. The Forces of Nature trilogy is about the destructive powers of having superpowers that you don't understand and can't control. It's about redemption, about finding love and finding yourself. You can find the first two books, Scorcher and Thin Ice, online wherever books are sold. You can also pre-order the upcoming audiobook for Scorcher at www.kellyguentner.com. That's www.KELLYGUENTNER. All right. So today, like I said, we're going to talk about Lorelai's love language. We have talked off screen about how Lorelai's love language is touch. And
Absolutely.
we've talked about, yes, and we've talked about all the reasons why. But first, Crayle, why don't you share your behind the scenes about how that developed? Like, because there's a reason that made it into the show that I think is interesting.
Well, I mean, it's like my theory that's why it continued that way. So I heard in an interview with Lauren Graham. She is glamorous though. Lauren Glam.
Yes, she is.
Lauren Graham and Alexis Bledel, that since it was Alexis Bledel's first major acting role to be Rory, that with the extra long scripts, they were rolling for a long time and not wanting to do a bunch of extra takes with any production, right? But Lauren Graham and Alexis Bledel got close really fast anyway. And so one of the things Lauren Graham would do early in the filming that she got in the habit of doing was putting her arm around Rory to put Alexis on her mark where she was supposed to be in front of the camera. I really wish I could remember who was interviewing them to like cite my source there. But if that's what started her always having her arm on Rory or touching Rory's arm or stuff when they're talking like that, then I almost wonder if intentionally or not intentionally, the writers ended up kind of running with that and being like, okay, well, Lorelai just touches everybody.
Which makes so much sense for her character, because her character very deliberately sets out to be the opposite of her parents, who are very reserved. Their love language is not touch. Their love language is definitely spending money, is gifts. That is absolutely their love language. And Lorelai is, I feel like, was maybe a little touch starved growing up.
In season 7, there's an episode called Lorelai's First Cotillion, where she's watching Emily teach a cotillion class. And one of the things that she watches from a distance and complains to Michelle about is that Emily is teaching proper spacing and distance between the girls in this at a tea party in this cotillion class. And Lorelai says, "Oh, this is bringing back terrible memories. Other kids got hugs and kisses, and I got taught to maintain proper spacing and distance." But that's all the way by season 7. It was still very developed before that she's a touchy-feely person. Like, every time she sees Christopher, even if they're not getting along very well, she hugs him with one arm and kisses him on the cheek. Like, what are some of the moments that stand out to you where Lorelai's just touching people?
Oh gosh. Now my mind's drawing a blank now that you put me on the spot. Thanks. But yeah, she really just everyone, I feel like. Isn't she even like touchy-feely with Lane? Like when Lane needs comfort, she's giving her those mom touches, like stroking her hair. Am I just remembering that wrong, or is she doing that?
I think she does somewhat, but I don't think she wants to overwhelm Lane by being up in her face. She tends to try to meet Lane where Lane is at because she relates to Lane, and Lane's stress language is music, and she has memorized. She's like, "Oh no, this is that band. That means Lane is having a major teen day. It's not good," and like goes in there anticipating it that way. So, I mean, it's not that it's super concrete.
Amazing.
It really is. It's not that it's super concrete and she can't be flexible, but whenever she's acting on reflex, there's a moment that stands out to me so much when Lorelai is married to Christopher, and she doesn't know that Christopher and Luke are having some like behind the scenes friction, but she and Christopher are having some friction, and some of it is about Luke. She runs into him outside Dosey's Market with Dula, one of the first times he watches TJ and Liz's baby Dula. And she asks if she can hold her, and Lorelai loves kids and babies. That's obvious throughout the show. You know, the way she interacts with kids at the Lord of the Rings themed birthday party and stuff like that.
Right.
So she's holding Dula, and one of the fights Chris and Lorelai have had recently is over whether or not they should have more kids right away. And so him seeing Lorelai holding someone else's baby next to her ex-fiance is obviously super awkward. And even though she kind of jumps a little bit and feels how awkward the situation is, when she goes to put Dula down, she still hugs her and lays her cheek on top of Dula's head one last time before she puts her back in the stroller, even though it's such a moment. Like, it's just, you know, Dula's a baby. It's not her fault. And Lorelai cares about Dula even though she barely knows her and has to just get that one extra little bit of touch in. And I feel like they really build up to that, to where by the time you're watching season 7, there are examples that just smack you in the face.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm still, let's see, I think I'm on season 4 with my rewatch. Is that when Richard starts his business? Is that season 4? I am brain dead right now as we're
season 4. I think, yeah, season 4 is when she starts dating Jason Stiles, right?
Yeah, so let's see. No, it's season 3. I'm on season 3, so I'm still early in my rewatch. So
okay.
Because season 2 is when Jess comes in, so season 3 is when Rory starts dating Jess.
Yeah. There's less touch in that season specifically, though, because Jess has so much screen time and she doesn't like him. So,
yeah,
of course, you're struggling to come up with examples. That's like one of her least touchy seasons, I think.
It really is, because, yeah, she really doesn't like Jess. And I don't blame her. I don't like Jess. Which, you know what, Gilmore Girls fans, I'm sorry. I know a lot of people love Jess. He does grow as a character, and I come around on him, and I like him better, apart from Rory. Justin Rory is just toxic.
Same. I like Jess as a character. I love his dynamic with Luke as they flesh it out. But as a boyfriend to Rory, we'll have to talk about that later.
I feel like we need an episode just about Rory's boyfriends.
We do need an episode just about Rory's boyfriends. I think we've even mentioned it on air before, so somebody's going to eventually hold us to it.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely Lorelai's touch language. What would you, or Lorelai's love language is touch. What would you say Rory's love language is? I feel like hers is acts of service.
I was going to say words of affirmation because she's so all about the way she writes and the way she words things to people.
I could see that. You know what? I think you're right. I'm switching to yours. I think she does a lot of acts of service too, though. Like she is very thoughtful about when she's not being selfish, when she's not being impulsive, she can be very thoughtful for the people she loves and does a lot of things that she knows they will appreciate. And she tries to meet people where they're at also.
Mm-hmm.
But she is very good with words. Obviously, that's kind of her thing.
I feel like that's one of the reasons she and Paris end up bonding so much is Paris's actions sometimes are actually very caring, but her words come out so mean. And Paris is looking for somebody to balance her out. And then they like really bring it like to the center when they run for student council. And she's like, I need somebody to be nice. And Rory's like, so just like being nicer never occurred to you? But
I love that so much. Yeah.
I think
that slayed me.
the biggest example maybe of Rory being super into words of affirmation though is she gives the valedictorian speech at her Chilton graduation and spends not a whole lot of time talking about school or intellectual matters or whatever. She has the podium and uses that time to be thankful and express affection for people in her life.
Not crying a little.
I'm blubbering. You guys are freaks.
Exactly. That okay. Yep. I'm with you. Luke though, acts of service, 100%.
100,000%. Shoveling her walk, even when he's mad at her. Lorelai's walk.
Yes.
Like he goes over there to yell at her and shovels her walk on the way up there.
He is the best. Like he is just the sweetest. Oh, I adore Luke.
He is. We joke that my husband is accidentally Luke. I somehow accidentally married Luke.
That's accurate, yes.
Yeah.
He even cooks well.
He does.
He's not as obsessed with health food as Luke is.
Well, Luke didn't grow up Cuban, so
No. And you are absolutely Lorelai.
Yeah, that's not my fault. It just happened, okay?
Yes. So, yeah, I'd say that about covers it. Do you have anything else that you'd like to talk about with this topic?
What do we think Kirk's love language is? That one's confusing.
Oh my gosh. I feel like Kirk is, oh gosh. I feel like he's probably acts of service too.
The alarm code episode comes to mind for sure, where he breaks into Lorelai's house and installs a security system because she lives alone now.
He's so adorable and creepy.
Yeah.
So I recently watched the episode where he asked Lorelai out and then tells her she's the most beautiful girl he's ever seen outside of a magazine.
Outside of a really filthy magazine, I think is the way he worded it. Like, did not skimp on the details in proper Kirk fashion.
Yep.
So yeah, next time you rewatch Gilmore Girls, just pay attention as the seasons build up to how often Lorelai reaches out and touches people. Like, if you hadn't noticed it before, you won't be able to stop noticing it now that you've heard this episode.
Turn it into a drinking game.
I don't want to die of alcohol poisoning.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, no, we will not be held responsible for anyone going to the hospital with alcohol poisoning. So don't do that. But, you know, if you do, have an EMT on hand.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening. And if you want to support our show, we are part of the Cereal Box Network. So be sure to go to buymeacoffee.com/cerealboxpod and donate. Whether you like the show or not, if you don't like the show, donate generously and tell us how we can do better. Any donations to the network go to help all of us improve, help our behind the scenes costs, because it does cost money to run a podcast. So definitely be sure to donate. If you have a few bucks to throw our way, that would be awesome. Otherwise, make sure you like, share, subscribe, do all the things. And make sure you have yourself a magical Gilmore week. Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.